What's going on, guys? It's Sacred Eagle, and today's my question and answer video. It's been like 2.5 days since I posted the initial video, and it's time for me to go through the comments and answer you guys' questions. I saw a few of them before making this video right now, and I like a majority of them. Let me just say that. A few of them are the same, mostly like who's your favorite Eagles player and stuff like that. So we're gonna go from the top straight down to the bottom. Answer the questions now. It's going to be a long video, so if you do not have any interest in watching me talk about myself for the next like 10 to 20 minutes, click off the video. It's fine with me. But if you're here, welcome. Let's get down to it. The very first question that I see is pinned by me because I just loved it. Can you eat me? Okay, let's move on. Recent moves by the Eagles are bad. Getting cornerback Patrick Robinson in the free agency when they can address it in the draft, and not releasing / trading players to free up some cap. The only free agent I would like to see the Eagles sign from here to the draft is Jonathan Hankins. What are your thoughts on the offseason the Eagles have had so far besides the signing of Alshon Jeffrey? That's a good question, and I like everything you brought up there because it's stuff that I've talked about in the past. In my personal opinion, the offseason that we've had so far has been solid. You know, at the start, like day one when we got Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith, cut a few players, got a few players here, I was at a solid A, B. You know, it was a really good start to the offseason with, you know, solidifying the wide receiver spots, letting Connor Barwin go and, you know, test the free agency and whatnot. I do agree with you that we should have traded some players or released some players to free up some cap, like what's his name, Michael Kendricks, and players like that. And the Patrick Robinson signing, like I said yesterday, it's meh. You know, like it might not be good, but it could be good. We'll find out. He does bring that veteran feel to our secondary. Because if we're going to draft more people, we're not going to have that much experience at our cornerback positions. So it makes sense that we got somebody on a 1-year deal as a veteran, just for the time being, you know. I know it's making it seem like it's a 2017 fix for only 2017, but we could re-sign him. It could be for more than 1 year. Overall, besides the Alshon Jeffrey signings, this season, or the off-season rather, this off-season, it's been solid. You know, the Eagles, they've made good moves. They made some questionable moves. Now they're trying to bring back Kelly Green. Good move right there. If we could bring back Kelly Green, I would love that. I would love to see it like as an alternative, like Color Rush, something like that. But I would love to see them bring it back for all time. You know, like Kelly Green is the real Philadelphia Eagles, and there's no other uniform that I'd rather see. But in the end, the off season so far overall been pretty solid. I'm happy with what Howie Roseman and the Eagles have done. If they can get Kelly Green back, that'd be even better. And you know, focus on the draft. Who knows what'll happen? By the same person, your most hated team outside the NFC East. You all know I hate the Giants and the Cowboys. That's a good question to ask outside the NFC East. I'm actually thinking right now. Because that's a good question. There's a lot of teams that I don't like. And I think number one on that list has got to be the New England Patriots. Now, I've talked about this before. When I predicted the Super Bowl, I made a flat-out video after the Falcons beat the Packers. In all caps, the Falcons will lose the Super Bowl, but I'm going to root for them anyway. That's how badly I hated both those teams. Those are probably the two teams that I hate the most. Well, Arizona and New England. Those are the two teams right there. And then the Falcons. I just hate seeing New England winning every year. We saw them 2016. We saw them 2014. We saw them 2005, 4, 2001. Dude, like, I'm tired of seeing them, 1, always winning their division, 2, always winning up to the NFC Championship game or AFC Championship game, and 3, they've been in 5 Super Bowls ever since I was freaking born. I was born in 2000. They've been in 5 Super Bowls, or they've been in like what 7 or 8 Super Bowls, and they've won 5 of them. Like yeah, they've been in I believe 7 or 8. Like and the fact that they stole one from us with Spygates, that's no one was able to frickin'. Moving on from the topic, New England, Arizona, Atlanta. Moving on. Can you sing? This is 59ers football. Yes, I can sing. I think when I started this channel, before I changed to Sacred Eagle, started making Eagles videos, I'm pretty sure I started off making videos of me singing like Imagine Dragons and songs like that. But yeah, I can sing that. Yeah. Desert Eagle, one of my favorite Eagles video makers right there. Which 3 former Eagles players would you bring back if you could? That's a good question. I like that question right there. I'm going to go with the obvious. Brian Dawkins is number 1 on that list. Number 2 would probably be, when he was an Eagle, Terrell Owens. No doubt, because we need that kind of explosive player on our offense. Number 3, it's like a tie between like Reggie White and Jeremiah Trotter. Like, I remember watching the Eagles when I was a kid and loving the defense, because we had some crazy defenses. And back like in the 80s and whatnot, we had a great defense. And like me, as an Eagles freaking fanatic at the age of 16, watching as a young kid Brian Dawkins, Jeremiah Trotter, these guys just dominating on defense, and then like looking up the old film, watching Reggie White, and all those guys back in the day, you know, play some crazy defense on football. In football, it was those are just some of them, the Eagles players right there I would bring back. What's your favorite food? Pizza. Dude, I eat pizza like freaking every day. Pizza, without a doubt. This is all Desert Eagle, by the way. What's your hobby besides talking about football? Right here, man. I play a lot of video games, and I was actually going to make a video about this as well. If you guys want me to, do more talking like this and stuff with you guys, I can always stream. I would mostly stream Madden, Overwatch, and Rocket League, because those are 3 games that I actually have fun in, regardless if I suck at them. And then you guys can just comment, I can read them on the screen and talk with you guys for like an hour or 2. And I'm thinking about doing that on the weekends. So tell me in the comments down below in this video if you would like me to start streaming for you guys, so you guys can talk with me on Eagles, anything, basically. But hobby outside of Eagles football talk is definitely video games and listening to music. I love listening to music. Music is my life, along with video games and football. Still Desert Eagle. Who do you hate most in the division? That's tough. Redskins are on the bottom because no one really cares about the Redskins but the Redskins. I would honestly go out and say the Cowboys. The Giants and Eagles have this kind of rivalry where I just hate them when I'm playing them. The Cowboys, though, I've always hated them. I despised ever since I was a kid. Never liked them. Still don't like them. I hate their guts. Dallas Cowboys all the way. What was your favorite and least favorite moment as an Eagles fan? Oh man, this is becoming a story time. Let's start off with favorite moment, because I remember this so vividly. I think a lot of you guys will remember this just as well as I do. Miracle at the New Meadowlands. All right. I'm a 10-year-old kid. This is 2010, and we're watching this on Sunday. It's 1 o'clock. Eagles, Giants, both like 11-4. Or 10-4 or whatever. Like really close in the division. From what I can remember. I remember how terribly that game started. Deshaun Jackson was fumbling footballs. Nothing could happen on offense. Defense was just getting ripped to shreds by Eli Manning, Victor Cruz, Kevin Boss. We were losing like 24-3 or like 17-3, something like that, before we scored a touchdown to get us into at least like 2 touchdowns back in. Like, I remember I was sitting there on Sundays. My family normally cleans the house, like does his ultimate day of cleaning, but like Eagles football we focus on as well as we do it. That day, I sat on the couch for 4 hours, 12-4, watching this game because I am an optimist. Like, you guys know, when you listen to me talk about Eagles, especially the past 2 seasons, you've heard me being so optimistic. I make Eagles videos about them making the playoffs when they're 6-9. That's what I did last year. And this game was kind of the beginning of my optimism, because we were down 24-10. I remember hearing Merrill Reese just going, and that should wrap it up, as the Eagles are now losing 31-10 against the New York Giants in the 4th quarter. And my father stood up and he was like, okay, I'm done here. And I just look at him and I'm like, they can still do it. And he's looking at me crazy like, no. They're losing by 3 touchdowns and 10 minutes left in the game. It's over. It's done. Let's just focus on the house before you get upset. And I was like, I'm already upset and I'm not leaving the couch. And he was like, okay, all right, whatever. So he got started on cleaning with my family, and I'm just sitting there watching. And I remember Michael Vick throws a bullet right to Brett Selleck, and he makes a defender miss, scores a long touchdown pass in like seconds. And I remember, oh my God, I remember Merrill Reese was like, oh my God, the Eagles just scored that quickly. That's just what they needed. And it was 31-17. And then we force a 3 and out. We get the ball back, and Michael Vick is just running crazy. Like, I'm afraid he's gonna pull a damn hamstring like he always does. Because he's just running for 30 yards each freaking play, and then he scores a touchdown on a quarterback draw, and with like 5 minutes left in the game, we kick off the football to the Giants, and we're down 1 touchdown. And then we get the ball back, and my dad comes downstairs, and he's like, what'd I miss? And I'm just sitting here like, they're down a touchdown, and he's like, no way. No way. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. It's going to happen. And he went back upstairs to clean the rest of the house. I'm sitting there just watching, going crazy, and I remember seeing Michael Vick throw a bullet to Jeremy Maclin. This is Jeremy Maclin before he tore his ACL a second time. Just catches the ball, does a quick turnaround, and runs into the end zone, throws the ball into the stands. They tied the game up. I was freaking my shit. Like, I was flipping shit, dude. Like, I was insane. And my dad came down to watch the rest of the game with me, and I was like, yo, $10, they kick it to Deshaun Jackson if we can force them to punt, and he returns, and he's like, no, they wouldn't do that. This game is going into overtime. And I'm like, regardless, we're going to win. But I think Deshaun Jackson will win it for us. And I remember Merrill Reese's his freak out, like it's the back of my head. And Matt Dodge kicks the ball. It's a Duttler. Deshaun Jackson catches it. He muffs it. Now he has to pick it up. Regroups. He's running down oh my God, he gets a block. Oh my God. And I'm just jumping up and down in my seat, freaking screaming at the top of my lungs. Deshaun Jackson, off a muff punt, wins the touchdown and wins the game 38-31. I was That's the reason right there. That game. That's the reason why I am the complete optimistic Eagles fan. Because I always look for the Eagles to do some crazy thing like that. And I'll never forget that game, because that game is one of my favorite. It's one of the best comebacks in NFL history. And I mean, it got us to the playoffs, and I'll never forget it. That was, oh man, I cannot stress that enough. That was the greatest the greatest game I've ever watched by the Eagles by far. My least favorite moment now, moving aside from a story time video that this is slowly becoming, least favorite moment, definitely 2014 season or 2015 rather, getting blown out by the Lions on Thanksgiving, the Buccaneers, like a week later, the Cardinals, the Redskins, the entire 2015 season. How about that? This is still Desert Eagle. When did you become an Eagles fan and why? Now, I don't remember a time where I wasn't an Eagles fan, and I'm only 16. I'm growing up right now in a small town in Jersey. I can legit hop on a car, drive 10 minutes away to the link, and I'm right there. I grew up here all my life, and the Eagles and the Phillies were really the two teams that my father introduced me to, because he grew up being a Mets fan, because that's where he grew up when he came to the States. He loved watching the Mets, and then when he and my mother moved here, and I was born, he started getting into the Phillies, and he from like the 80s and on, he started getting into the Phillies, and he kind of just dragged me along into it, and then we got into the Eagles together. And basically, the Brian Dawkins, Donovan McNabb era, that's what made me an Eagles fan. All the old players that we would used to watch from like 2003 to 2009, basically, when all of them were gone. Those seasons were really, what made me an Eagles fan. That and the thrill. The thrill of it was just, that's what made me love the sport, love the team, and the fans. The fans are a reason why I love our fan base. I don't care what anybody says in, like, anywhere, like any sports journalist, anybody, like anyone on YouTube, I don't give a shit. Whatever. This fan base is the most diehard fan base, Philly fan base, not just Eagles, all the fan bases in Philadelphia. We just want to see our team win, and no matter what we do, no matter what happens, we're always rooting to see a championship held high in the city of Philadelphia. That's why I love the Phillies in 08 and 09, because we were champions. I know we didn't win the World Series in 09, we should have, but 08 was something special, and the Eagles came close to going to a Super Bowl against Pittsburgh that same year. But that's the reason why. I grew up here. My entire family is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I love the city. So, who are your most hated teams in each sport? Oh, that's a toughie. City of Champions 95. I like the question. I really do. Most hated teams. Definitely Patriots in NFL. Patriots and Cowboys in NFL. MLB is definitely most likely the Nationals. And the Yankees. I hate those two teams with a passion. NHL, I don't watch too much NHL, but I've watched the Flyers long enough to say that I hate the Pittsburgh Penguins. that's something. And then the NBA, I'm just gonna focus on those four. NBA, I don't watch basketball. Especially with how the Sixers are playing. They've gotten better this year. I've kept up with them more this year because they've actually won more. They're at 28 wins when the past 2 seasons they could barely win 28 combined. NBA. I don't think I have one for the NBA. I never watched basketball. I never was that big a fan of it. So, who is the best Eagles fan, or Eagle right now? Best Eagle right now? Probably Carson Wentz. Malcolm Jenkins, those two, because those are really the leaders we have on offense and defense. Do you like what Howie Roseman is doing with the Eagles? Yes, I do. You can definitely tell in the way that not just Howie, but Jeffrey Lurie and Peterson, they're all on the same page, and they all want what's best for this franchise. And in the future, they probably will get us close enough to a championship, maybe even one. Who knows? This is year 2 in a new era, so I like what they're doing, so yes, I do. Do I like chocolate? I love chocolate. Why do you choose the Eagles to be your favorite team? I already answered that question. Good question, though. If you can meet any of the Philadelphia Eagles players, past, present, who would it be, and what would the first thing you would say to them? That's a difficult question. I most likely would stick with Brian Dawkins because that man, I loved watching him play. Like, that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm an Eagles fan. The way he played, it was just crazy, you know. And like he just gave you this kind of thrilling feeling when he was on the field, when you saw his presence there, when you saw him make a big hit, when you see him make an interception, when you see him do anything crazy on the field, you just get that vibe that you're just excited and thrilled. You know, that I would love to meet Brian Dawkins. That would be like a dream come true right there. First thing I would say to him is like, dude, what? I don't even know. Like, I would just be shocked. You know, I like. Man, that'd be crazy though. I don't know what I would say to him, but like, just imagining myself meeting him is like, oh, that'd be awesome though. Do you think this year is the year we win that ring? No, I wouldn't sleep on us. But ring, not this year. If you could bring back one Eagle, who would you bring back? And I would love to hear about the Phillies. That's talking about me and talking about the Phillies. Brian Dawkins, bro. Brian Dawkins, Jeremiah Trotter, or Reggie White, or Terrell Owens when he was an Eagle. We need somebody on offense that could bring us that excitement on offense. But that's what Carson Wentz is here for. So. Who is more of a bust, Nelson Aguilar or Marcus Smith? That question. That's a good question, Jake. I say they're equal. Marcus Smith is probably leaning towards more of a bust than Nelson Aguilar, because Nelson Aguilar, he's only been in the league for 2 years now. Marcus Smith has been here for 3. So, Marcus Smith, I mean, I actually noticed him this past year on defense. He made some pretty good plays here and there. But Nelson Aguilar, like, I feel like we had more of an exciting feeling towards Aguilar than we did Smith, because Aguilar was a Jeremy Maclin prototype, because we just let Maclin walk and sign with the Chiefs. And Aguilar just hasn't lived up to the hype that we gave him in 2015. They're both equal. That's a really good question, though. I would just stick with them being equal. Should the Eagles trade down in the draft for a 3rd or 4th round pick? We have 2 4th round picks, don't we? Yeah, I think we're fine with picks, personally. Yeah, I think we're fine with picks. Should we still draft Sidney Jones after his injury? Ooh. If you don't know, Sidney Jones is a cornerback, and he had an Achilles injury, and he still claims that he is the best corner in the draft class this year, which I wouldn't deny, but that's a risky move if we got him, because that Achilles injury is that's an injury that you would struggle to recover from. Like, an ACL is one thing, unless if you completely just demolish your knee like Teddy Bridgewater. Like, I feel bad for him, because he destroyed every ligament in that freaking knee last year, and he's still not cleared to come back for OTAs and stuff like that. Like, it's crazy how badly he destroyed his knee. Sidney Jones, it would take him a while. It's an Achilles injury after all, but I wouldn't mind if we got him, but it would be a risk nonetheless, to say the least. You know what I mean? That's a good question, though. Do you think we should get Joe Mixon in the 1st or 2nd round? Maybe the 3rd. No. I say no. As much as I wouldn't mind getting him, I say no because Doug Peterson's already said no due to his character. Something along the lines of that earlier today is the reason why Doug Peterson isn't targeting him in the draft. That's a good question. I honestly wouldn't mind having him here, but, you know. Favorite Eagle ever? That's a tough question. I have a lot of favorite Eagles. I always go to, like, Brian Dawkins as one of my favorites, but there's a lot. Like, I can name a list right here and now. Like, Eagles, let's go. Let's do this list. Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, Ryan Westbrook, Brian Dawkins, Reggie White, Deuce Staley, LaShawn McCoy when he was an Eagle, Deshaun Jackson when he was an Eagle. Who else haven't I named? Reggie White. I'm pretty sure I already said that. Jeremiah Trotter when he was an Eagle. There are lots of Eagles out there that I consider favorites. So those are most likely like a list of my favorites right there. I don't know if I can single out just one, but that's a good question, and that's my answer right there. Dalvin Cook in the draft, answer in depth. I've talked about him before. If you really want me to go in depth, check out like 2 or 3 of my videos that I've made the past month. But going into some depth, Dalvin Cook would make sense because we all know that he's explosive, he's a really good running back, and he's one of the best in the draft class. Not that many teams need a running back like the Eagles do, so if he could fall to 14, the Eagles should definitely hop on him and get him to Philly. The explosiveness, and he fits the system really well, and that's something that I like about him, is that he fits the system, and he can make plays happen, he can break tackles, he can juke people out, he's quick, he's everything you would want in a young running back who hasn't dealt with injuries, unlike Ryan Matthews over here, but, yeah, I would definitely go after Dalvin Cook in the draft, especially after picking up a cornerback, a veteran cornerback like Patrick Robinson. Regardless of if he's good or bad, we picked him up. That singles out one issue at corner. We're definitely going to draft like 2 or 3 or I wouldn't say 2 or 3, 1 or 2 more corners in this year's draft. But that's, I would definitely go after Dalvin Cook. And I believe that's it. Let me check and make sure I didn't miss any. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. There weren't that many questions, but there were a lot of good questions, and I appreciate everyone who left a comment asking me a question. I hope you learned something about me and my favorites, my Eagles history and stuff, because I've been a fan of this here logo ever since I was freaking born. I'm pretty sure when I was like 2 or 3, I was rocking a Brian Westbrook jersey or something. But yeah, man. Thank you all for leaving comments and questions. Hope you learned something about me. If you want me to do more of these, just tell me. If you want me to stream for you guys so you can talk to me live and get some responses, tell me in the comments down below. I'd love to do that with you guys. And yeah, subscribe for more content. You'll probably get like a quick video later regarding the Kelly Green uniforms push that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie have been making the past couple of days. And I'll see you all in the next video. Sorry for how long this has been, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Peace out, guys.